Hey everybody, it's me. I wanted to just speak to you for a few minutes because if you don't see me out there reporting in the flood, there's a reason.
We're starting Taxol today. I'm stomping it out.
I have another case of breast cancer I'm dealing with, so
Before. This hair is nicer than my real hair. It is beautiful.
it is not the cancer I had 25 years ago. It is a new invasive cancer in what little breast tissue I had left.
I don't really know what this does, but it works. The steroids are making me strong, so I'm walking.
I am going to fight it with everything I have.
Gotta keep moving. And we get fresh air and sunshine. No time to waste.
I will be okay. And thank you. Thank you for the love. Okay, bye.
Stacey Sager is live on the Upper East Side. She has details of the story.
Last June, everything suddenly changed. I went for my baseline mammogram at age 30.
I was 30 years old, so my story started a quarter of a century ago.
My biggest worry ever since I was a little girl was now front and center: breast cancer.
I did a story back then. Young women at high risk for breast cancer need to know they should get a mammogram, perhaps even 10 years earlier than other women. I sat at the desk with Diana Williams and Bill Butel.
Last year, our own Stacey Sager was diagnosed with breast cancer. She was just 30 years old, but there was a history of cancer in her family.
I have a huge family history. My mother died from breast cancer at 44. My grandmother had ovarian cancer. My great-grandmother had breast cancer. She lived to be 96. The only one who had early onset was my mother. So we knew there was something going on. And at 30, I had a mammogram, and it saved my life. If I hadn't, well, I don't even like to think about what would have happened. I was just a young woman telling my story, a very young woman telling my story. The hard part for me was exploring all my options and in the end, making a very personal choice. I was told to go for my mammogram 10 years before my mother was diagnosed. My mother was diagnosed with breast cancer at 39. So when I was 30, I went in to have a mammogram, and I was called back in 6 times, something like that. And they saw microcalcifications, and it turned out to be a stage 0 breast cancer in this part of my left breast.
It was something called non-invasive ductal carcinoma in situ, or DCIS. Being a reporter, I began to learn as much as I could about my latest assignment.
At that time, we suspected something was up in my family. I think genetic testing was just coming out. I did not have a genetic test.
I was forced to contemplate odds and the other choices: surgery, losing one of my breasts, or even 2 at age 30.
So I had a bilateral mastectomy because of a stage 0 breast cancer and a very strong family history. I needed to do the opposite of what my mother did. My mother did lumpectomy and radiation for an invasive cancer. Back in the 1980s, that was the protocol, and it came back with a vengeance. So I said, get it all out of me. And I had immediate reconstruction. I looked great. Picture of health after that.
I have no more pain, and I'm very pleased with my results.
So here I was in New York, single at ABC, my dream job, my dream life, and I had a stage 0 breast cancer to take care of. So I looked at it as something to take care of. And that's exactly how I approached it. My breast cancer never would have been detected without a mammogram. It was a very effective way to share what I went through and to raise awareness.
Thank you for a courageous report.
Oh, very, very courageous. I hope it helps people. That's the goal.
That is the goal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stacey.
And for years, women still come up to me and say, you're the reason I decided to get a mammogram. Women still come up to me because they remember that story. You shouldn't be afraid to get a mammogram, especially if you're at high risk. Ask your doctor if you should get screened between ages 30 and 35. So many on-air people have had cancer since then. I sort of was one of the OGs, you know, because I just said, I'm gonna tell my story. I was pretty much a rookie reporter in New York City, but I had a lot to say about it. And I suspected that other people would listen.
What's the prognosis, if you can tell us?
Prognosis is excellent. Nothing is 100%, but the doctors say there's a 95% chance I will never get breast cancer again.
Okay.
So good to hear.
Thanks so very much, Stacey.
Thank you,
Terrific
Stacey.
report.
And I was really, really great after that for a quarter of a century. I didn't have the genetic test until 13 years later. I thought I had time to think about it. After all, lightning wouldn't strike twice, right? I had already taken care of the breast cancer.
I have two beautiful girls. I beat breast cancer 13 years ago, and this time I wasn't taking any chances with ovarian cancer. Like many women, I was scared of genetic testing, but for me it was time, and I felt like I already knew what the results would be.
I tested positive for the BRCA1 mutation, which we all knew I was going to be either BRCA1 or BRCA2.
It was no surprise, but I have the BRCA1 mutation. My sister Deborah does not, but we both know how it ripped through our family, how it took our mother.
I went in for a prophylactic oophorectomy, which was to take out my fallopian tubes and my ovaries in 2011.
If there's a way to play the numbers game to your advantage, I feel like it's not really a choice, you just do it.
Everything went great, no problems whatsoever.
Of course, we still had to wait a week for the official results from pathology, but I was upbeat with my husband.
You think I can stop worrying?
Well, let's hope. Let's hope.
Stop worrying about this anyway.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'd much rather worry about the kids.
And lightning struck again. They found an early stage ovarian cancer, which in many women can start in the fallopian tubes. It was in both of my tubes, but my ovaries were clean.
So here we are, 2.5 weeks later, back in the same place.
They went back in, they did a staging operation, they took out some lymph nodes in my groin, I had a full hysterectomy. Everything was negative. My ovaries clean, my uterus, everything came out.
It hurts, but it's not so bad. I just have to come out of this for a day or so. So I'll spend the night in the hospital, and then we wait.
I was basically taking care of business surgically and moving on. I had a few missing body parts, but I was really, really strong. And I was very outspoken, and I had a message to get across.
I think if people can see someone who's gone through this well, they always feel better. It'll make people feel better.
There's just so many years for these cancers to come back. The lifetime risk if you're BRCA for ovarian and breast cancer is so high that there's decades, for it to come back, and you hope it won't. You hope that they took everything out. You hope you're leading a healthy life. You hope you're being proactive and you're making the right choices. And then there's that little factor that you can't do anything about. But that was 2 times I saved my life. I've saved my own life 3 times now. 3 times. I hope. Here we are 12 years later, the ovarian cancer never came back. Never came back. And I was living life. At some point, a number of months ago, I can't pinpoint when, I would feel discomfort when I was sleeping on my right side. But then in July, the pain blew up. I feel like there was a change, and the pain became much more severe. Every night I was taking Advil for it, and I was trying to call the institution where I had my mastectomy 25 years ago and get back in there. And there was a wait. There was a wait from July until September 26th. And I called my internist and I said, this pain is just really bad. What should I do? She said, Stacey, go get a sonogram, like now, like tomorrow, whenever, get a sonogram, listen to your body. And I did. I just went and had the sonogram. On September 11th, I went and had the sonogram. They spotted the mass in about 5 minutes. So there I was on September 11th, lying on a table, hysterically crying. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. By myself, hysterically crying. I did everything I was supposed to do, and this still happened. And I don't want to scare people, but I want to make them aware that it can happen, and you need to listen to your body. So the diagnosis was triple negative breast cancer. That's what the pathology came back as. Within a period of about 8 days, I got a second opinion from the Vassar Center, which specializes in BRCA. I found a new surgical team at an entirely different institution, and the surgery to remove this new invasive cancer was on September 26th, the very same day that my surgeon in the former place that I had been to would have even first gotten eyes on it. I went to see Dr. Elisa Port at the Dubin Center at Mount Sinai. She came highly recommended. The surgery was very successful. The 6 lymph nodes that Dr. Port took out were negative. That was all good news. My scans were clean. It's important to point out the good stuff, right? I thought, great, I should be a stage 1, except it's triple negative. It's an aggressive cancer, and it wasn't found in a full breast of breast tissue. It was found in residual breast tissue that was left behind.
For patients, sometimes it's important to understand a stage of their cancer. Is mine harder to stage than others?
It's a unique situation, yes. Classical staging may be harder to apply in this scenario, and so that's why I think if it were a new presentation, yes, stage 1. However,
meaning in a full breast.
In a full breast.
You can't get 100% of breast tissue out with any mastectomy.
Does it seem crazy for a 20-year-old or 30-year-old going in for this procedure to say, please take all the tissue as much as possible?
Listen, I don't think anything's crazy to say. I think, sadly, it should go without saying that that is the shared goal. I do think that there are some times where patients also have other goals, which is a more natural look. Well, a more natural look could be code for leaving more tissue behind.
Unfortunately, the tissue that was remaining, which was here in the twin spot where my stage 0 cancer was, another cancer formed. See that?
It's my last chemo.
So I recovered from the surgery really fast and was able to get into chemo 3.5 weeks after. I didn't want to waste a minute.
Beautiful Kathleen is getting set to give me doxorubicin, otherwise known as the Red Devil.
Chemo. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's really, really hard. You feel really, really bad. You feel nauseous, you feel tired, you feel dry. There's too many side effects to describe in this interview. And you just have to tell yourself it's all temporary. And emotionally, you're really not okay. There's days you're okay, and then you're not. Sorry.
Putting my feet and hands on ice. That's to prevent neuropathy.
Everything has a side effect as you're fighting your way through chemo. You worry about neuropathy, your toes and your fingers on ice. You worry about nausea. You worry about all food tasting differently. I don't know how long that's gonna last. And now the news that I need radiation. Look, I mean, I'm dealing with it all and hoping none of it is permanent and hoping that I get stronger.
Some people make a grand entrance. I make a grand.
30-year-old Stacey would have been horrified by chemo. That woman seems like a girl to me now. 44-year-old Stacey would have been horrified by chemo, but would have muddled through. That woman seems like a girl to me now.
We're done with the Red Devil. No more. It's gone now.
56-year-old Stacey's taking no more chances. It's just, let's get on with it. This is treatment number 4, and my older daughter, Liv, did the honors of this chemo poster, 4th down. I decided to make these posters because I decided I needed to think of some reason to keep going through it. My daughter's dance, my garden, my family, my sister, my work. This is why I push on. This treatment is significant because it's my 4th and final with the first 2 chemicals, cytoxin and doxorubicin, otherwise known as the Red Devil. And they're
nasty.
It makes me laugh when I'm in the worst of the worst moment, and it just helps me kind of smile and feel better, because I have to. Because when you're going through something horrible, you have to laugh or you have to feel something to counteract that. You need an infusion of strength. I need the infusion of something positive, the people around me and the posters.
It's been an ugly few days, ugly 3 or 4 days after chemo, round 3. As long as I can still see the sun out there and the leaves on the ground, I keep walking.
Those walks were a way for me to clear my head and feel the leaves crunching. When I feel the leaves crunching, I know that I'm here. I'm still here. I'm on the earth, and the sky is blue, and all is well and right in the world.
Just yesterday I couldn't walk more than 2 miles. Today I'm gonna run more than 3.
When I'm feeling up to it, which has been a lot of days, I go out and I walk and I make the best of it.
When you're on the fence, and when you get out here and you feel better, it's worth it. It's worth it.
You do what you can, but you keep moving. Keep moving.
Have a great one, everybody. TGIF.
Cancer takes a lot, and you can look at it that way, or you can sort of look at yourself as the bionic woman, you know? We can rebuild her, right? It's coming out. You see this? You see this? It's very hard because my hair was falling out in clumps anyway, and so you don't really feel happy seeing that. So I just needed to move forward at that point. Joan London gave me the best piece of advice. She said, "Stacey, I just got on with it." And we know Joan's a beautiful, beautiful woman. And I listened. I got on with it. Get on with it.
You ready?
I'm ready. This is not my hair. I just have to move forward.
I mean, you're doing awesome.
Woohoo!
Wow. You look beautiful.
My plan is to address all this when I'm well enough. You know, we wear the wig not really for us. We wear it for everybody else because we don't want people to look at us like we're sick. My sister said, don't put all your wigs in one basket. So, you know, I have 2 amazing wigs. It really looks a lot like my old hair. I'm a big fan of the schmata. I call it the schmata. You know, I wear them around the house. We need to embrace looking different with cancer. We're gonna do a little before and after. So obviously, this is before. I don't really go out this way. I'm still really self-conscious about it. But I'm gonna kind of stay quiet while you put it on my head. How does that look? I will not be in a wig forever.
I know it's not going to feel like yourself, but
no,
it's close enough.
It is beautiful. I will not be bald forever. I just ask that people see me for me. It's still Stacey. It's still Stacey out there doing her thing. Before. It's just going to be a while before it comes back. It's good to know I'm not the only one. I know I feel like the only one sometimes, but it's really good to know that there's other people who are living it.
I'm looking at new breast cancers that develop after a mastectomy that are arising in what we call retained breast tissue.
Dr. Christina Welch has studied 70 to 80 women that had a second primary case of breast cancer like me, but only 2 others who had it after a prophylactic surgery or stage 0 cancer.
It's frustrating that I predict we're going to see more of this in years to come.
There are so many young women going in now who maybe BRCA, maybe they have Ovarian, maybe they have a strong family history. They're going in and they're making these really difficult choices, and they're looking for surgeons, and they are looking for procedures, and they want a cosmetic result, or maybe they don't, and there's so many things to consider. But I am telling them, and I am pleading with them, to have the conversation about getting it all out.
Women who are going in for mastectomy, part of that conversation needs to include, is our #1 goal here to get all of the breast tissue out? Is there any reason I, the patient, would need to be concerned that that could in any way be compromised.
The thing is, once you have a mastectomy, you have much less breast tissue and you can really feel things. And it is important to get to know your new breasts. And I think that's a very, very good message.
I think the lesson is, A, to be aware of this phenomenon. Not only such that we can prevent it, but that we can do a better job in following people over the long term. In the research that I'm doing, the vast majority of patients find this new breast cancer on their own.
The key is really every woman knowing their own body and having a continuous conversation with their doctor about it. And you think you're completely clear. I was told you're good to go, that's it, you're good to go. So there's no great answer. I wish we could do better, I really do. I wish there was a better answer in our healthcare system. I really hope there will be, because I know I'm not the only one who's going to live this bad movie.
Hey, the last one.
There's a number of cancer vaccines that are in the works.
We've really been focusing on trying to develop a vaccine to prevent the development of cancer in the first place. We do have an active trial for BRCA1 and 2 mutation carriers, and we treated a cohort of people with prior cancer, and now we are treating individuals who have never had cancer but have BRCA1 and 2 mutations.
And I just hope and pray they come soon enough. I pray they come soon enough for my daughters. I'm not sure they will. They might be my daughter's children. I pray they will. This is my journal. A lot of us keep journals, I'm sure. I don't write in it every day, but sometimes the feelings come really strong, and there's no other way. Some entries are funny, and some entries are about how I feel invisible that day, because cancer can make you feel that way. Cancer is the entirety of me. Cancer is many things, but mostly it's the many versions of me, which I never knew existed. It's the me who wears the wig to feel like my old self, which is really for the sake of everyone else, to look normal, to fit in. It's also the me who walks around bald or in nothing but a simple head covering, because that's the real-time me, who looks in the mirror and sees tired but strong, and then feels proud of myself for regaining strength after my last chemo treatment. It's the me who needs to listen to my girls complain about their everyday lives and their drama, the stressors that seem as tiny as the pimple my daughter complains about. It's the me trying to teach them that no matter what the circumstances, happiness is still a choice.
We have to celebrate the wins, and we have to celebrate everything good.
But my oncologist's words continue to haunt me. We only get this one chance to cure you. In a world of second chances, this seems woefully unfair. Is there no room anymore for that which is miraculous? The only answer, never stop believing. Gotta believe. There's my Hanukkah entry.
Good.
Okay. I don't think I can say anything else,